If you don't have an email account set up on your computer, when you launch Mail the first time, Mail is going to ask you for some settings. Now, before we go through the process of creating an account with Mail, let's explain how email works so we can better understand how to enter the settings that Mail asks for. So let me just cancel, which is going to quit Mail. Now, I've prepared a little diagram here trying to explain the basics of it. Email, or electronic mail, it's a fairly complex system made out of a number of elements. One element is what it's called the email client, which is the software that you use to write and read your email, in this case, Mail. Another big, huge element, of course, is the internet, which is how or that the email gets sent through the internet. In this diagram, I've put in an ISP, which means an internet service provider, which is the company that offers you the service of connectivity to the internet. In most cases, most ISPs offer you email capabilities, meaning that they offer you an email address. And in a nutshell, they use an incoming mail server and an outgoing mail server. Now, incoming mail servers, there's two kinds of incoming mail servers. And these are the things that we have to figure out how to enter them in Mail when we go through the setup process. But let's keep on going with the explanation. One of the kind is called POP, or Post Office Protocol. And the other one is called IMAP, which stands for Internet Message Access Protocol. So this is an incoming, or these are the two kinds of incoming mail servers. We'll get into the details of what's the difference between one of them and the other later. But for the time being, let's just consider incoming mail servers. And then we have something called an outgoing mail server, which is usually an SMTP server, Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. We don't need to really learn the acronyms, but it's important to understand that it's an incoming mail server and an outgoing mail server. Now let's add a little bit of complexity here. And let's say that we have another person that we want to send an email to. And this other person has some other email account at some other ISP. The way it works, it's kind of like this. When you write your email message on Mail, or pretty much on any mail client, you create the message. When you hit the send button, that message gets transferred to your ISP's outgoing mail server. At that point, the job of the mail client sending the message has finished, at least for this point. So now the outgoing mail server has a copy of your message. What the outgoing mail server will try to do, based on who is going to be receiving your message, is it connects to the internet, finds out the incoming mail server of your recipient, and if it exists and if it accepts your message, then it gets transferred and it gets stored on the incoming server of your recipient. Now, let's say that somebody sends you an email. It works exactly the same way. Let's say that somebody creates a message. They hit the send button. It goes to their ISP. It gets connected to their outgoing mail server, to the SMTP server, which connects to the internet and finds its way to your incoming mail server. At this point, you have received your message, but it is on your ISP's mail server. It's not on your computer. So at that point, let's say that you launch your mail client, or that your mail program connects to the internet to check the email. If it goes and checks that there's something in your incoming mail server, then the message gets transferred over to you. And in a nutshell, that's how email works. The important thing, though, is to identify, for the purposes of setting up Mail, is that we have something called an incoming mail server and an outgoing mail server.